Okay, so welcome. I'm Professor Mark King, co-founder and chief scientific officer at DineticQ. Today, I'm excited to talk with James Kirtley, brand ambassador for DineticQ, who I've known for about 20 years now. We're both, it seems like a long time, both as a player and as a coach. Hi, James. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you.
So we're here to discuss your experiences around fast bowling, of which you're definitely an expert, biomechanics and legality, and how you think the sort of products we're offering here at DineticQ could help cricketers and coaches. So, James, it's going to be over to you now then. So can you tell us a bit about your career journey and your cricket experiences?
Yeah, I suppose I started professionally in 1995, which seems an awful long time ago now, and went into professional cricket and at Sussex and had a brilliant time. And over the course of my time at Sussex, we managed to win every domestic trophy. We had an incredible decade in the noughties, and one, when I look back as a career domestically, one that has plenty of memories and plenty of celebrations. And then internationally, I was one of those lucky people to have played in all formats. And probably the pinnacle being internationally was making my test match debut at Trent Bridge in 2003 and getting man of the match. But in and around all of that, it wasn't all plain sailing. And on my debut in a one-day international, the match referee out in Zimbabwe raised concern over my action, which was quite a public event, and one that completely blindsided me. And then through the course, there were a couple of other moments, and again in 2005, where my action was called into question. And I guess my understanding of fast bowling suddenly became more critical, and the understanding of the biomechanics, and obviously the time with yourselves up at Loughborough being tested, and thankfully getting through the test and coming out the other side and having some really memorable moments were great. But it definitely planted a seed in my head about trying to understand fast bowling. And now I find myself coaching bowling, pace bowlers, get to work with some of the best bowlers in the world, in Jofra Archer and Ollie Robinson, who's had a fantastic test career, to Tamal Mills, one of the quickest bowlers on the franchise circuit, with Chris Jordan, trying to bring back Reece Topley, and then again trying to bring on the future of young bowlers at Sussex in the likes of Sean Hunt and Henry Crocombe. So that's a sort of précis version of how things have been. But like I say, every time it's sort of gone back to trying to understand bowling, trying to understand biomechanics. And, with PaceFlow and, the legality options, I wish there had been these things around to help me 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago. And equally, this is state of the art.
So is it that? Yeah. So is it that attracted you to, be interested to help DineticQ on its journey?
Without a doubt. And the legality thing is one that I have a huge emotional tie to, because it was heartbreaking. It was, it's a pretty bad stigma in cricket. And unfortunately, those sort of stigmas stick with you throughout your career. You always feel that you're under the microscope. You're always thinking that people are judging, and it's quite a hard thing to do. So, whenever anybody's come to me in any shape, way or form and expressed an interest about legality, I'm totally invested in it. And, I want to make sure people don't go through the sort of heartbreaking chats, the heartbreaking moments that I was confronted with.
Yeah. I mean, we've obviously been working in cricket for, a good 20 years now. And, we're trying to use science in a good way and get it out there. So with this sort of the PaceFlow app, how do you think that could help bowlers and coaches? If you think when you were younger, how could it have helped you?
I think it would have nipped things in the bud if there were any sort of signs and suspicions or whatever it might be, and it would have been almost a check-in, a little bit of an MOT. Where are we at? Are we? And it's measurable. So you could see, are people improving? Are people, is it getting worse? All these little things that are the drills that we're doing. Are they making a difference? I remember looking back at, it was, VHS footage, which was only probably 25 frames per second. And I remember sitting with you saying, we didn't know the difference we couldn't see a difference between 11 degrees extension and 19 degrees extension. This day and age, your phone can do it. We have the devices that, have come so far in such a short time. But I think what it would have done for me was nip it in the bud, and we'd have been able to stay on top of things and never got to the stage that you find that you're making your international debut and then suddenly eyebrows are being raised.
Yeah. So if you think about the different levels of cricket, cricketers, from, I don't know, age 10 onwards, where do you think this is most useful? Is it for everybody, or, where would you think?
I think there's the two real main areas. One, I think there is a duty of care. I think there is, if you have a young bowler coming in and they might have a suspect action, the chances are the ball might be travelling a little bit quicker than what everybody else is used to. Now, if someone gets hurt, I'm barely qualified for anything other than cricket, but, if someone's to get hurt, I'm sure that might raise a few concerns. Equally, I think, quite a lot of money is spent, so on a moral basis, from pathways, academies, private coaches. Parents are investing an awful lot of money, and if coaches aren't stepping in, I really think, you're probably not getting the service and the care that you should be getting. So, if it's left untouched, people can get hurt, or, you're not really doing your job. And then I think, so that, that's more the recreational part. You don't want people in club cricket or in junior cricket throwing out aspersions or, shouting from the boundaries. It's just something we all want to avoid, obviously. And then as we move up the chain, bowlers that might have been left to bowl in their way and suddenly reach higher up the academy, the sort of elite programs, suddenly, you see bowlers that might have a bit of a kink. You're looking with the naked eye and you're thinking, well, why hasn't this been dealt with?
Yeah.
And, this young bowler, has probably got this dream of becoming a professional cricketer. And I've had to have those chats with these aspiring cricketers and say, I'm really sorry, but we're going to have to intervene here. This really isn't acceptable. And it comes as a massive hammer blow. And sitting in that room with that young player and breaking their dream in front of them is incredibly tough.
Yeah.
But one that sometimes we haven't been able to help and get them back. In other times it's been hugely rewarding, and we have got bowlers back and they're playing, and it's hugely exciting. So, for me, there's twofold. Let's look after everybody. Let's have a duty of care. Let's iron it out as early as we can, and let's not break kids' dreams.
No, indeed, and there's nothing worse than a bowler finding out that they've got something wrong, and they've been practicing for all those months and years, perhaps in the wrong way. And to me, it's also supporting coaches, so that because coaches can often try and look the other way because they don't know how to deal with it. And I think on the back of the sort of products we're trying to bring out, we need to provide the right support around the coaches so that if someone's not bowling appropriately, we've got something to help them, and I think that needs to come as well.
It is, and I think, it's like a lot of things in coaching. We don't really coach a player how to deal with being deselected. We don't really coach a player to deal with injury. That requires huge amounts of resilience. We're all really good at the good stuff, but there is the great thing about it is that the help is out there, and the difference you can make to a player for something that is so simple actually to do. And we're not expecting everyone to be qualified to your level of biomechanist, or for me to have seen the number of bowlers and interacted with the number of bowlers from the very top to under nine cricket. We're not expecting everybody to have the same amount of experience, but what we are saying is, look, you can tap into this resource that is going to make such a monumental difference potentially for a young player, and at a very reasonable cost. And if you think about the money that might be invested going forward, either into an academy player or into paying for a pathway or your private one-to-one coaches, if these things aren't quite happening for a small little checkup, it can make a huge amount of difference, and one that the support's there with some of the best qualified coaches in the country to help you through it and advise and perhaps suggest ideas of helping, and that can only help your own coach development going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's I'm trying to I think we're trying to provide the right tools so that coaches and players can be confident and talk about this issue rather than leave it to another day. So one last question from me. So more broadly, what advice would you give to aspiring cricketers?
To aspiring cricketers, is put yourself, is to put you in those situations because that require delivering under pressure, to being able to close out the games. I watched Chris Jordan last night, show hugely calm head. I'm out in Australia with the big bat, and he's closing out the game for Hobart Hurricanes, and he's done it for the best part of 10-15 years. Every time he's stuck his hand up and he wants to bowl the tough overs. But I know with someone like CJ, and anyway, they work incredibly hard. They work with discipline. They train hard. They try and expand their skills. They put themselves under pressure all the time, so that when it comes to the game time, it is relatively easy because you've rehearsed all those moments. So it's easy to take the non-pressure route, but in every time, what is it that you can to put you under a bit of pressure, to challenge yourself in a safe way, and allow yourself to grow in that way.
Yeah. And I guess all I think I would add to that is, for aspiring cricketers now, is technology is here. Embrace the technology that's available. AI, everybody's talking about, etc. And it's, as we move forward, I do believe it will change how sport is learnt. And for cricketers to come through, there is good technology out there, and it can help you on your journey. And I think that's the exciting thing going forward.
And it is, and we, virtually all of us carry a device that can help you, and you can take it wherever you want, and you can share what you need to do to help yourself. So the resources, as you say, are at your fingertips, and use it, because it will be that time invested in it will come back and pay you back tenfold, if not more.
Well, thank you, James, and thank you for being part of the DineticQ family, so to speak. To anyone out there watching, please check out PaceFlow and our Legality feedback product at www.dinetic.com. And thank you, James, for your time this evening.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Cheers, Mark.